Okay, let's take a look at example 5. Example 5, we have two different graphs. So let me actually go take a different color so I can see the two curves. This curve here, this is g of s. So g of s run from here and it goes like this. I'm going to try and see if I can mimic g of s very well. So g of x is this one, this or g of x. And then I'm going to take another color. Hopefully that will be able to help us find. And this is our f of x right here. F of x like that, like this. All right. So we have our g of x and then we have our f of x. Right. So this here, let's change this a bit. So this function here is actually our f of x, and this function here is actually our g of x, right? So the question is asking us for what value of x does f of x plus g of x is equal to 0 right here. So that means when I add for a particular value of x, when I add the two functions, it will sum to 0. That means we can also say that f of x is actually the same as negative g of x. They negate each other. So when one is going up, one is going down. So this is f of x, as you can see from here, this g of x. So it's kind of obvious though that when you get to this is positive 2, this is negative 2. So g of x is equal to positive 2 when x is equal to negative 2. As you can see from here, this is negative 1, negative 2. Therefore, g of negative 2 is equal to positive 2. All right? And then f of the same thing, f of negative 2 will give me negative 2. As this is right at this point here, this is my function. And so I can see clearly that when I plug in f of negative 2 and I plug in g of uh, negative 2, that is equal to, will give me 2 minus 2, and that is equal to 0, right? And so the value of x that will set this addition to be equal to 0 will be s is equal to negative 2, and therefore the answer is B, right? So that is how you analyze these kind of problems.